So then we'd have to kind of sprint.
How many, I'm looking at these, there's 28 East Lakes, right?
Yeah.
That's the,
Yeah, based on your turnout that you had in the presidential election, at each polling place, I figured out how many machines you should have at each polling place. So that's with the 17 disabled access ones and the 28 regular ones, you have 45 total.
so some places will have more than one available.
Oh, yeah. No place will have less than 2. And this would be your smallest configuration.
It's like you even have 2 in Chevy, huh?
Well,
Well,
those
you won't
two,
have
because you have
to.
to have, well, you have to have,
You only
you
have
have to
to
have two.
Accessibility.
Yes.
You only have to have the last one.
Oh, that's right.
And if
Only
it's
have-
really a low turnout place, that's all you would need.
Right, so.
Would this price be good till October 1st?
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to get you a new copy that can extend that. I knew from the start we were talking about budgeting, so
Right.
we'll fix that.
And how long have these been in operation?
The earliest adopters were like Harris County, Texas, and Orange County, California. They started using them in 2001. Travis County, where I live and worked, we started using them in 2004. Most of the counties have been using them since 5 and 6.
And what grades have been continuing?
We've had several versions over the years, and we've delivered those free. You pay your annual license and support, so when there's a new version, you get that new version as part of your license agreement.
So there's parts of these certain things, we're not gonna get one of those deals where you have it for a year and all of a sudden, my God, this thing is out of date.
Well, I mean, considering that Harris County just bought 10,000 more of them 3 years ago, we're planning on supporting them and all of our other customers into the foreseeable future. They were our pioneer customer.
And I think with anything, technology's rapid, it's gonna change.
Yeah. And these are certified systems, they're federally certified and state certified. So, once they've been certified, you can't make changes without going through certification again. So that's the difference between just straight technology and voting technology, which is certified.
Carol, do you know if there's a way to resell our antiquated equipment, so they'll have different parts for those poor people that still need it?
No, I don't know, but I can find out.
You might try cities and schools, because after the SB 100, a lot of them are kind of out on their own now. Their counties stopped supporting them. So we sold a lot of equipment in counties that use our voting systems. The cities and schools want to keep using that. But there are lots of ES&S counties that might have cities and schools that are leasing right now or just out in the cold.
So we don't have to continue to store them for nothing to use.
Yeah, and you don't want to keep paying a license on 10,000 a year.
Does anybody else have any questions on this presentation? Sure. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, we can go back to. Let's go to number 7, which is the update on 1747 in regards to county road funding. I stuck you some emails in the package, so you'll know exactly what's going on. These came from Jim Allison. You'll see Jim was with us in every meeting, he never left us. And there's a lot of questions about how that's going to happen. The Texas Department of Transportation released a letter about the 83rd regular session that passed 1747. It was signed by the governor and passed the bill. The legislature authorized TxDOT to develop the rules and administer the program. This did create a funding program for county transportation infrastructure projects in areas affected by the growth of the energy sector and how funding can be provided to the county. There's a lot of things that I guess that there's question about. Any expenditure made prior to the implementation of 1747 will not be reimbursed, nor will it be used to satisfy any matching contributions. So we can't take something that we used and add it to something that we're going to foresee in the future. And that comes to a budgeting issue 1, and we're going to try to figure out what our match is going to be, because we're going to end up running across that timeline crunch of, it says TxDOT has not yet created the timeline. So I'm going to give you a copy of this so you'll see how this is going to go. Required by the bill are the rules implementing it, but we're hoping the effective date of the bill, which is September 1st, is going to be September 1st, 2013. And so then it says we're going to be working with your association, which is going to be the South Texas Judges and Commissioners Association. You'll see, you'll turn the page, you'll see where Jim kind of talked to these people and tried to break some things down to it by us. 1747 came across through USD and Kepler, and it was to establish the procedures for the distribution of the $225 million in grants. And now it says, TxDOT's going to adopt the rule, the procedures, and the counties for us to create that local TERS. And we're going to have to allocate 10 to 20%. That just depends on whether we redeem an impoverished county or not an impoverished county prior to the shell development. We were deemed a poverty county prior to the development, so we will fall in the 10% range. That part has already been foreseen on our behalf. It says we don't expend any county funds on any projects that you submit for a grant project until it's approved by TxDOT. We're not to expend any county funds on consultants and engineers for project studies prior to September 1st. This is not going to be incurred by those grants. And it says do begin an internal evaluation of your county roads to prioritize your potential projects and keep informed of the draft procedures if they are developed by TxDOT. The County Judges and Commissioners Association is going to keep us informed. He did say too that there's some concern about how we're going to set up this reinvestment zone. TxDOT is developing a checklist and forms to adopt the TERS. There is nothing out at present. Nobody knows anything. Nobody knows how they're going to qualify. And until we get that checklist, Ronnie will probably get that checklist. As soon as we get it, we'll know exactly where we're at to be able to do that. Naismith Engineering will be back on the 31st of this month. I think he's been in touch with you, Ronnie.
Yes, I've got the contract and the proposal.
She would have been here today, but as Ronnie just said, the keyword contract, her wasn't here, so we need to have her review that contract and look at that contract. And once we're able to get her to look at it and see what's all involved, we will be able to move on our behalf. Now, the coalition of judges that we started out together, we're looking at the Senate Bill 1747 together to see if there's going to be any money-saving mechanism for the TERS that we could still work together in a manner to develop anything that we're going to have to do and split it 5 ways, just like we did with Steve Cole's house. So we're still on top of that. We're trying to do it, but I'm going to give these to Luana, so Luana will have some ideas of dates and stuff for when we're going to have to be able to budget and how we're going to have to be able to budget. As of right now, we don't know. There is a guesstimated formula out. I think I sent it to Ronnie. The guesstimation formula is simply that. It's a guesstimation put by Jason Hazy, by Carlos Rusty's office. It's a hope. It's a hope of a lot of money, especially for Karnes County, because we've been hit. They call us ground zero in Austin, so we've been hit the hardest, but we don't know exactly how much we're going to get back. I don't know if you have anything to embellish on that.
All I know is some figures that David and I were looking at, and I'm not sure where he pulled those figures, but it is substantial.
I think it's from J.C. Hazy's formula. And that formula, it shows how much damage we have. It shows tax rates, shows everything. And it looks like a big, long algebra problem is what it looks like. And the only reason that I don't say, okay, this is what I think it's gonna be, is that's a guesstimation. We don't have anything until we have something solid from TxDOT. But I know there's a lot of questions. How much money are we gonna get? When is it gonna start being disseminated? We don't know. So that's the final say. You got the letter from TxDOT saying that they're in control, and when it does become an effect, we'll get the checklist, and we'll have to work with them, and then start developing our curves. All right, that's gonna be between Commissioners Court, I know Ronnie, TxDOT, and the oil field is all gonna somehow be involved in the formation of that TERS. I don't know the extent of who or how. So if anybody has any questions, that's the best I can give you is the correspondence from TxDOT and in between us. Nobody has a solid answer yet. Everything that anybody's passing out is a best guess. Do you have anything else on it?
Not on that.
Okay. Let's go to number 8, which is discussion possible action in regard to a previous decision to request Robert Henderson to the sale of $8 million, and that shouldn't say the, that's a typo, to sell $8 million in road bonds, $7 million for jail, $1 million for roads. Last week, we discussed selling $7 million for jail bonds and $1 million for road bonds. That was before Bonnie and I ended up at the bank. And so we kind of talked about some things with our depository contracts and issues we were having with some of that stuff, and to see if maybe, I wanted to put this back on here to see if y'all wanted to do any kind of capital improvement plan to be able to pay for the jail, let's say 30 years down the road. Bob Henderson kind of shuffled in yesterday unexpectedly, talked to Pete and I about some of that. And I think some of the issues were in regard to effective tax rates, stuff like that. But then he said right now, with having to get rid of money and us looking for places to put money, it might not, he said he's not gonna say it would be a bad idea to pay cash for the jail, and it wouldn't be a bad idea to do the bonds for the jail. But that would be a decision that we would have to make. But if we were going to start investing money or doing something like that, you can see that the bank's dilemma of the collateralization and stuff like that. So it's one of those things that we could do the capital improvement. I mean, it's just like you said yesterday, it was a flip of a coin kind of proposition to decide how we wanted to do it. Either way would be.
All right, Bob has talked about the tax rate goes up quickly, the tax rate comes down quickly, but it doesn't go up very quickly. Once this hits a peak and starts back down, and our taxes come down, and the valuation of the mineral production goes down, then we can't get it back up there, so we need to keep it up. So we do need reserve funds. We've talked about that before. We need reserves. So some of this money we have there, we need to put in reserve. And we can invest this money someplace besides the bank. We have to. So we have to decide where that's going to be. We have to talk to people so we can invest it. Bob said he has a couple of places he's going to give us names of where it can be invested. We can seek our own. So I'll be.
When you invest this money, is the investment on the money going to make more than what we're going to spend in interest on money that we're going to build the jail?
That's right, but we have to invest some for a reserve when this comes down. We have to decide how much we need to, but I think it's very important that we keep a reserve somewhere and keep it invested.
And
So-
we have to get it out of the bank.
And that's what all we have to weigh out, about what the difference in that's gonna be.
One thing too, even though they may be issued as 30-year bonds, we don't have to pay them out over 30 years. There'll be a time, normally it's a 10-year time where you can prepay without penalties. I don't recommend paying 100% of the bill out of our reserves.
No. Pardon me.
Why? Because we don't know what's going to happen in the future as far as our tax base and our tax collections as well as our tax rate. And if we deplete our reserves, we may be in a heck of a big heap of trouble trying to operate.
I just find it hard to believe that for at least the jail, that we could, if it's $8 million, that we could not pay for that jail and leave the taxpayers with a bigger burden down the road. we may not be here, and there's, if we go to the bonds, we may not be here when we're paying, but that one-time investment of paying that jail, and only that jail, would be maybe to our advantage.
Aren't we above the $7 or $8 million projected cost on the bill as it is now? That this won't cover
I'm
the
just
cost.
asking ours.
I know we're at 7 million. What do we have in the bank right now, 24?
Five something.
And so I think that sometimes capital improvement plans, you're gonna save more money by not paying all those issuance clauses, not paying interest, not paying all that stuff. Let your money make money in some of those places, use it.
Again, I wouldn't recommend paying 100% to the jail. I would
Well,
still recommend some bonds being issued.
We need to see what restrictions, check back with Bob and see what restrictions we are going to have on these bonds that we sell them, where they can be paid off early.
Well, and as far as what's in the bank right now, yeah, the 25 million is overall. In the general fund, we have right at 17 million. So that's what would be eligible for paying out. Our road and bridge monies wouldn't, our county library monies, our rural fire, all the other accounts wouldn't be, it'd just be out of that fund. So technically, if you paid 100% for the jail out of our cash right now, you'd be depleting us by 50%.
I don't think we should pay that much like
I think we should pay some of it off in cash though, fees. So you
I
don't
think we
have
should
30
at
years
least
down
put
the road.
50% down and sell bonds paid up. For now, that's a recommendation. You can, if you decide to pay it off next year, you pay it off next year. You don't have to put all your eggs in one
You're
basket.
gonna have
You
to
sell the
10 year,
bonds,
you're gonna have a
bond
10 year
you're gonna
pay
pay 10 years.
Oh, it takes 10 years?
Yeah.
Before you
for
have
early
to-
payoff penalties.
Judge,
Yes, ma'am.
in the year 2017, we'll be able to pay off this building if we so choose. That's when the 10 years will be up on the building.
Okay.
Repay these certificates.
Yeah.
I mean, if we want to do half and half, or, I mean, but to ease the pain, I mean, 'cause this is going to go away eventually, we just don't know when, but I don't want to put a 30-year burden on the future. I don't mind cutting that in half, but you've got to use some of that capital improvement money.
Well, and if you sell it now, only half of it now, it's not saying you can't sell the other half later should the need arise because of the fact that the bonds were approved at 7 million. Not that you'd want to do it that way, but there would always be that issue. If this project comes in and costs us 12 million instead of the projected 7, we can still go and sell the additional ones.
What's
How
that
long
bond?
do we have before we buy or sell those bonds?
We're getting ready to do a buy because of the interest rates.
Yeah, but once they vote on it, in there a certain amount of time, we have to do something with the.
Yeah, he's gonna come back down. He has to get the bond, the issuance paperwork ready, he's gotta get the bonds ready, and get all that ready, and he comes back to court. You're probably 60 days out from the day we make the decision to give him the final call. If that's what you're asking, you're a good 2 months. So anyway, right now, we have the previous email I sent to him says that we were looking at selling 8 million. So if we go 3.5 and 1 for the roads, do we want to look at selling 4.5 million right now?
I would take, like I always go on site. I'm the only one that hasn't said anything. I've been hearing everything. I always go to Luana and ask her, what a good opinion is on that, and I respect her opinion on that about selling half. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I really, thought like Shelby did, since we had the funds there. I didn't want to throw anything on 20 years from now. We haven't had these kind of funds. We accumulated these funds, this revenue pretty quick in a few years. And I just kind of thought that we could pay it off. At least one thing, we don't have any more bills. We're gonna put ourselves in another note that I may not be here, I may be here, I don't know, I may be here. I may not be here in a few years, and I don't want to throw the burden, like the burden that we had, so many burdens I've dealt on in 14 years of bills, and being excited because it's our last year, and then if you take in consideration the interest that you're gonna pay on any amount of bonds, as what you're gonna save if you pay for it now, it's really not gonna be, and I really think that we have enough money even to have enough for reserves. We're not stopping now. The oil production is good right now. Everything seems good. We may be able to, you know, rejuvenate that account back in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, I'm not sure. But at least we have one thing paid off now. I kind of thought the way Shelby did, but of course, I respect everything our auditor says. I'm willing to talk with her and everything, but when I came in here, originally, I have to speak what I thought. And I just thought that we could pay for it all completely. We still have enough for reserve. We're doing fine, thank goodness right now. I don't want to be the board here that we have 10, because we have another project coming up, the EMS. How many projects are we going to stick on the next commissioner's court? You know, 3, 4, 5, 6 projects of bills, and we can pay for something. You know, I'm not saying this one has to be for maybe the EMS, or something needs to be paid for right
Well,
now.
that's
that we
the
have.
whole thing you need to consider. You need to look at the whole big picture.
That's-
Yes, we are gonna have the expense of EMS. We are gonna have expense of road and bridge.
That's what I was kind of thinking right now. That's why I said, I wouldn't
And we
mind
can pay
talking.
for EMS, you know. Then we have the bond set up for this already.
And that's all this bond money.
Maybe half of it for this, and then we can just pay off EMS or pay off
Or
a
pay
road
this.
and bridge deal.
Pay this off, pay half of EMS and just throw in $1 million for EMS or $800,000. Now that we may possibly join, the city's gonna cost less, maybe able to pay that off and this, and we're still generating revenue from tax dollars. We're gonna be doing that every year. We don't have just 17 million or 25 million. Correct me if I'm wrong, we're gonna stop now. That's just my opinion on it.
Like the last 3 years prior to us meeting, look how we struggled, because there was nothing was paid off, and we were struggling to buy, we were struggling to do. Sometimes, you know, you can pay something off, pay that off and go, and then you can start buying other things, and there's a benefit to the citizens.
Let's do with this capital minister, whoever it is, comes up with this plan, our investment plan, where we've got to do things, we may be able to do something yet, that we can reduce the load, because I really don't want to create a burden
That's right.
on the future. It's kind of like the Obama thing, you know, everybody's been paying for this thing for the next 500 years, and there's nothing there to try to reduce everything, and we're in a good position, but I know what Wanda's saying. I haven't seen all the numbers, but the ones that have the financing capabilities of planning and forecasting, we should do everything we can to minimize the effort.
And I think if you look at issuance cost and interest over that 10-year period, what are those issuance costs and what is that interest gonna be versus what if it sells the bonds and paying
Sure.
cash? We need to see what those issuance costs are. And issuance costs on bonds are not cheap. I mean, these guys are obviously doing this because they make money off of it. So I think that might be,
Then what happens if the bond market follows all of it?
Is there a possibility that this decision could be no action at this point until I had a chance to talk to Bob or we have a chance to talk with Tex Pool and the other investment options that are out there so we can see what our potential earnings are?
can you do that by the 31st?
Yeah.
Because the reason being is we've already told him to go ahead. And so I didn't want to, you know, do we say, can you hold for a second? Because we did there was information from him, from Robert Traylor, I think, yesterday. I can't remember.
Actually, that email came in last week. I forwarded it to Renee yesterday.
I can't remember.
I called him and he hadn't called me back, so I need some information from him.
So anyway, what do we want to do? The question would be then, do you want to hold, do you want to wait? I mean, we need to look at what these cost of issuance is, what the interest rate is, you know, and sometimes that cost of issuance, that interest rate kills you later too.
Right.
That's what I was afraid.
Like,
But I think until we have access to find out what our potential earnings might be on our other investments, that can't be an educated decision at this point in time.
I think that's great. I'm just afraid because we have the courthouse, we have EMS, we have this, we're gonna, you know, I don't wanna get the county to way too many things. And then we're gonna kill ourselves on the interest rates on the 3 big.
Well, and that's also not knowing what's gonna happen with the courthouse. We know the funding for the historical commission has gone down. Are we going to sit idle on the courthouse after we finish this round and/or whatever we might be awarded the next round? Are we gonna sit idle? Is the county gonna go ahead and continue restoration and then hope in 2 more years we can apply again and get more money to finish?
Oh, we just have to wait on the grant money.
I mean, but that whole thing is, we've got to benefit the citizens somehow, of not paying all of these fees that we wouldn't personally pay.
Okay, on the courthouse, we're already gonna spend $1.3 million, for which we get no, actually, $800,000, for which we get no grant money match. We'll be spending $800,000 on that, which we're having to get this done at this point. And it's gonna be the same way in the future, unless they reinstate the $5 for courthouses. And what we've discussed already so far is that the only thing possible to do in the next round is to apply for a grant to repair the roof and do the roof because it's leaking. That's an emergency grant. That's the only way we're going to get any grant for that. So the next 2 years, that's all we're going to get. Maybe get some roof put in.
Okay, we're gonna take no action here right now.
Okay, do you wanna-
Do what you want. Talk to him.
Well, and I think, it might be beneficial if I give you guys Bob Henderson's phone numbers and y'all talk to him yourselves, so you have firsthand knowledge of what he's saying. I'll give you his office number, his cell numbers, I think I gave it to y'all before, but before you leave here today, why don't you guys take that number and gather that knowledge for yourself, hear what's being said, know what everybody else is asking, and then that way you're able to make a more informed decision.
Why don't you just tell Henderson to come here?
You want him here on the 31st, I can ask him
Bring
to
him
come
here so we're all here at the same
But this is what I'm
time.
saying, why don't you, we can do that too, but why don't you call him, so you'll know what he needs to prepare for, so we don't get him here and we do what we're doing today, and you're delaying it further. That still gives you the opportunity to be able to talk to him, he's your financial advisor to the county. He works for you. Yes, Bonnie?
I was going to bring up during my treasurer's report, with all the monies that we're having to take out to invest in other places, I was going to ask that we form an investment committee. That way I can have input from other people, possibly next week or so, have a meeting, a special meeting to do that. We could have him come in then.
Well, and that might be another thing, I know that by August 1st, our depository contract's no good, so if we're waiting, we've got to do something probably by next week. But I think you guys, I can call Bob and see if he can be here one day next week, but I need you guys to be able to talk to him and ask those questions so he can find you answers to the questions you have. I don't think anybody has on-the-spot answers if this is what you're going to be able to do today, or this is what's going to be able to happen today. And so, but we need, as of August 1st, isn't it mine? Isn't our
Yes.
depository contract expired?
All my CDs are due July 31st, so I can't move any of that money out anyways until July 31st.
So, they're not going to tell us, come get your money. We obviously know that, but,
In your negotiations, is everything else staying the same with the depository?
until we can give him answers of what we're going to do with some of that money. Gerald said he would work with us any way he could. He said there was not an intent to be able to not work with us or anything else, but until Vi had clear direction from the court on investments and everything else, he says until we had that down to $7 million, he couldn't say a lot.
So even he didn't give detail as far as
No.
check costs?
I don't know if I stopped to talk to anybody on check costs or not,
No.
but I also know that he wanted accounts consolidated, he wanted a lot of the paper generation stopped. There was a lot of things that are taking the Falls City National Bank a large amount of time to deal with, tiny accounts for the county, numerous ones, and it's not time feasible for them.
And I've already talked to the parties that are involved in that about working on getting that consolidated.
So those are just all issues that we have, that we're going to have to be able to settle all those issues before we get out there and get another depository contract. So I strongly suggest y'all call Bob. We can rig something up for next week to do this. You guys are going to have questions that, he just can't pull the answers out of his hat. That's going to take some research information, some things that he needs to know, and it would be best if y'all would be able to talk to him about those questions. Okay? And so I will let him know, I will ask him what day he can be here next week. How's that? Sure. Okay? And on number 9, let me get these out of the filing cabinet. Hold on just 1 second, girl, because we're going to have to type the vote. Number 9 on the agenda is to conduct a public hearing in regard to mineral lease bid 1.377 gross acres of lot number 15 in the city of Falls City, Karnes County, Texas, being particularly described in a certain detail March 26, 1973, from Gladys and Netchus et al. To the County of Karnes, recorded volume 316, page 474, official records, Karnes County, Texas. And the public hearing will begin at 10:45. Does anybody have anything that they would like to say about that? No comments on that? No public hearing? I'm going to give them 1 minute. Carol, tell me back out at 9:46. Would that work? Unless you have a better time on your clock thing, tell me what time you're using. You're using sprint time? Oh, a timer, okay. Is that like the longest minute of it all? Were you- Okay, then the public hearing will close at 9:46. There was no comments. Number 10 is to discuss, approve, disapprove, awarding the oil and gas mineral lease bid proposal for 1.377 gross acres as described above in the public hearing. The request for proposals is the typical request for proposals like put together every time. You request $1,000 for our advertisement cost and a cashier's check, and it requests the fourth amount for the payment, and the bonus payment no less than $2,000 per acre. This is 1.377 acres. So the cost on that would have been $344.52. Both checks are submitted as requested, and it did meet the timeline. It was here on 5/20/13, and it came by mail carrier. And so the only one that we had on that was from Manticore. I don't see any reason to reject their bid or do anything else. If you would like to look at their bid, the bonus amount was $2,500. The royalty percentage is 25%. It's the standard bid of it, what you're getting from everybody right now. This is it's cut out in this little bitty spot right in here, and Manticore owns everything around it. And they were the only ones that bid on this one, and it ran for 3 weeks. The RFP ran for 3 weeks.
I'll make a motion to accept the bid. I'll second.
Will you allow me to execute the contract, please?
And Judge Riggs.
Tracy? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carries 5-0. Can you please give this to Okay, number 11 is to conduct a public hearing in regard to mineral lease bid number 0.675 acres of land, more or less out of the M.W. Potter Survey, A233 in Karnes County, Texas, and being more particularly described in that dated February 10, 1999, from Jill T. Malik and his wife, Marilyn G. Malik, to the County of Karnes, recorded volume 757, page 535, official records of Karnes County. The public hearing will begin at, now we have like a 9:50? 10:50, excuse me, thank you. Did I time them wrong all ago? Did you capture them right? Thank you. Anybody have anything they want to say about that mineral lease bid? Did we approve this one? I was thinking. last item on the agenda, the public hearing will close. The next item on the agenda is to discuss approve, disapprove awarding oil and gas mineral lease bid proposal for 0.65 acres of land, more or less, with the M.W. Potter Survey, A233, Karnes County, Texas, as described above. The $1,000 reimbursement check for our advertising is indicated in the instructions is here. The bonus check for $1687 for the 25% royalty is here, and this one was submitted by Craig Sheeman on behalf of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company. And this one actually has the lease included. So I don't see thing here. It's a small portion of land, which they own it all. They own everything but that one little middle. So out there asking for the same agreement as we did above, and I'm still asking for permission to exit.
Make a motion to approve item number 12 on the agenda as presented, with the judge usually execute.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? None, motion carries 5-0. We need to look at this one because the contract is attached on this one, but we need to call them. They left out, they didn't fill in one of their blanks. Can you hand that to Luana? And the blank is on the check, but I just want somebody else to verify. And number 16 is to discuss, approve, disapprove increasing fees for floodplain applications from $50 to $250 to include fees for civil engineer services to review applications, and that's Helen. You guys have got a letter that I included from Mr. Vasilka, who is a professional engineer for the city of Kentucky.
On that one, right now, we charge $50 for flood applications, and I'm reviewing them. I talked to Puma and talked to Sarah, they said we needed like a professional engineer on review floodplain applications. So when I talked to Mr. Vasilka, he's willing to come on, and he's charging us the $200, which would up our fees from $50 to $250, and that would cover for his services.
I'll make a motion to approve increasing the fee of the floodplain from 50 to 250, including fees and engineer services and review applications.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? None, motion carries 5-0. Number 18 is discussion.
17.
Did I skip one? Oh, sorry. 17 is discuss, approve, disapprove entering into a contract with Thomas B. Vasilka, professional engineer for floodplain permit consultant. Consulting fee will be $100 per hour, not to exceed the amount of $200 per permit package. The applicant will be responsible for 100% of any additional costs incurred after the 2-hour limit for meetings, travel time, review on incomplete use of metals, etc. And that's Helen again.
And on this one, it's still a $200 fee, which is $250. The 100% that we're adding on is if there's an incomplete package, they're needing to meet with him to discuss anything, he will charge extra for that, and we are billing it back to the applicant that they have to pay for the difference if they have to spend any more time with the application.
You have that noted on your application.
We will be, as soon as this is approved, we will rewrite our cover page to indicate that.
Make the motion to approve item number 17 on the agenda as presented.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? None, motion carries 5-0. Now we're to number 18. It's discussion and possible action to move alcohol and drug testing from Road and Bridge from Special Projects Office to Road and Bridge Office.
On this one, we are doing the drug testing and alcohol paperwork for Road and Bridge when they hire a new employee. We feel that it needs to be in the Road and Bridge, well, I feel it needs to be in the Road and Bridge office. If there's ever an accident that they do a drug testing, nothing's been reported to me to where if it's in their office, they know about it, they can send them in for their testing. When people are terminated, I don't get any reports on their end dates until I actually have to file a report with CMI on that. So if it's in their office, they have all the paperwork and be caught up with all the paperwork, and I have everyone needs to actually ask questions on it.
When we do those tests, doesn't somebody have to go in there?
No, I just fill out paperwork, send send them to the analyzed drug testing, and they would work there. They would send them to me.
There's no on-site testing.
You just give them a package,
The
right?
package, yes.
You mean, so we just tell them go by yourself?
And
Yes.
analyze drug testing, they go in with them.
Yes.
No, I mean, okay, but
See, I do the paperwork for CMI, which is the company that receives all the testing for them. So after they fill in a package for hire, they're sent to me so that I can set up an appointment for them to go do their testing. But like I said, when people are hurt at work, I'm never notified about it. They're supposed to be taking a drug and alcohol testing when they're hurt. I never hear about it. If they quit, I never hear about it. So if it's in their department, they can keep up with all of this.
Any injury or any accidents, the CDL has to have drug testing.
And it hasn't happened, so if it's in their
Better
department,
if it's at their department, when we hire someone down there, they can go right away. They need to have a drug test right away when you hire them.
Who's gonna be in charge over there?
I've been talking to Katie, which is the new secretary for Road and Bridge, and I'm talking to Ryan about it, and we're kind of in agreement that it should be.
We don't have any problem taking it over, I just need to know what line item we pay for that from, because there's nothing in my budget to pay for it. How has it been being paid for?
For Road and Bridge.
On what line item?
I'd have to pull up the bill and see how it's.
Okay.
thank you, drug testing.
I think there's a regular drug testing line.
Anything
So
that's
it is being paid by
CDLs, it should. You have to, that's just the law.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you
I said, yeah, we have to, it's just the law. You should have a line item for it,
say. Okay.
because it's CDLs. So you just want to move it, are you okay by that line?
Yes,
Moving
I'm
it to
okay.
your office?
Yeah.
How were you paying for it, Helen? It wasn't coming out of your
No,
budget.
I was, they were just
You were still
billing me, and I'm
paying.
sure.
She was just doing the paperwork. So we don't even know if people were getting drug tested like they should.
I know the new hires that
Have
I've hired
been.
since I've been here have been.
Okay, good.
But
And they
I don't
were
know
before.
What was happening before?
New hires have always been tested.
Yeah.
It's been post-accident that things haven't been followed through.
Unfortunately, we haven't had an accident since I've been here. So,
And an accident could,
if it's a CDL driver and there's an accident or bodily injury by state law, they have to be fixed.
And that's the only requirement if there's bodily injury.
Yes.
So they need to be tested very.
Well, I don't have a
Any
problem with that, I'm
accident,
just telling
I thought it
you
was
the knowledge.
any accident, yeah, any injury, any accident, isn't that what it says?
Yes.
so if they back up and hit a stop sign or hit a wall or something, they get tested, it has to do with bodily injury.
If they fall and get hurt, they have to do it too. Any injury, any accident, I think is what the law is.
On the road bridge premises.
I think
There
so.
might
Just
be
say
a-
anything that's CDL, any
CDL.
injury, any accident.
Any CDL driver.
Does this require action?
Yes, we just need to move it.
You're fine with it, right?
I'm okay with that.
And I'll make a motion. We take action required on item number 18, testing to road bridge department.
One second.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? None, motion carries 5-0. Brenda, you're number 21, have to collect this report.
Tax collections for the month of June, for the county, current month, $35,903.45. Year-to-date, $7,866,682.16, for a collection rate of 97.46%. And the delinquent roll for the county, current month, $11,371.65. Year-to-date, $83,278.81 for delinquent, percentage delinquent roll collected, 37.4987%. Road and Bridge for the month of June, current taxes collected, $8,503.08. Year-to-date, $1,884,896.98 for a current roll collected of 97.477%. Delinquent roll, Road and Bridge, month of June, $1,102.04. Year-to-date, $8,945.96. Delinquent roll collected, 42.65%. Rural fire for the month of June, current taxes collected, $4,540.72. Year-to-date, $984,082.43, for a percentage collected at 97.4481%. Delinquent rural fire collected for the month of June, $623.80. Year-to-date, $5,132.02. For percentage of delinquent roll collected, 47.675%.
By your next treasurer's report, discuss and examine.
But everyone has a copy of whatever she has now.
There is no disagreement in numbers, I'll give them.
Yes, we're going to bring it. So do we want to talk about the bank visit now, or wait till next week?
If there's something you think we need to know before next week that I know, that I didn't tell them, that you think that they need to know, go ahead and tell them now, so they can prepare for next week.
I just really would feel more comfortable getting an investment committee together, maybe myself. Luana always helps me with the CDs anyways, I mean, we've already approved effort there. Maybe one of the other commissioners, just because we're gonna be putting money out in different tax pools in different places, and we're gonna have to get one or two brokers, and I'm just.
Do you want to ask Bob too? Do you want to ask Bob about brokering? And
I've already talked to the local treasurers and the other local counties and who they use, and I'm gonna make some phone calls this week, and that we may have one or two brokers coming in here to do a little presentation. So before you do the agenda, you know how we visit with that. Just,
He'll probably throw in his 2 cents worth of
Right,
yesterday anyway. He
right.
did yesterday.
we're just so used to doing just CDs that, and the way the bank talked, they wanted it to be out for several months, and maybe in a couple of months when things come slow down on their end, we can put it all back into the bank. We just have to accommodate them a little bit.
This is just going to be a big change for all of us. We're going to have to
Yes.
kind of learn as we go.
Yes.
There's no other way. When Bob comes in, he can give you ideas, you can bring in your ideas from your people.
Right.
And everybody can be on the same page to ask those
Yes.
questions. But we do need to renew that depository contract by August 1st. So you,
By the state statute, you don't have to have a contract with them. You can put your money where where you want to. It's just the interest rates, the new checks. We're pretty caught up on all the checks. I don't think we have to order any checks anytime soon. So paying for any checks anytime soon would probably not be an issue right now. Your interest rate, they have to collateralize it. Of course, when we're getting it spread out, it's going to help them a lot too. But it's in our best interest, yes, to have that contract. So by next week, if we have a meeting, then the following week we'll have a better answer to give to Gerald on what we're doing before the 31st.
Make a motion for item number 22 as presented.
all in favor, say aye.
Uh,
Any opposed? None, motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Pay the bills.
You'll notice on page 1, the very first payment, $18,200, that's Don Kruger Construction Company for the final construction
Thank you.
payment on this building.
Did you get the proper papers?
Yes.
go to page 4, you will see almost halfway through, the next to the last item under the first section, payment of $20,000 to Texas Regional EMS as approved by Commissioners Court on July 3rd. And the budget will be amended to accommodate that expenditure. That's for EMS coverage from June 11th through June 23rd. On page 8, the last entry is a payment to Texas Facilities Commission in the amount of $10,000. That's for a used water tanker. And although in the budget originally was for a new water truck, by the time everything else was purchased, there was not enough money remaining for a new one, so we only purchased a used one. The total cash expenditures for this bill cycle is $149,000.06.
Luana, what were the changes in the email accounts? I see some of them have been changed.
They have been changed because of the fact that we exceeded the free amount. We are now invoiced.
Okay, and I want to give you this, that's from our friend Sarah. So we can budget for it.
So the way to expend those correctly, so each department knows how many they have and know what departments.
I'll make a motion to pay those as presented.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
I understand.
Okay, Shelby's not doing that, okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
The next item on the agenda is the report from the Road and Bridge Department. No, excuse me. Report of fees, fines, and money collected by the following departments. Carol's, she left it up here. Do you have another one over there, Carol, that you want to tell us what it is?
My total for the month, after everything was paid out, was $40,261.67. Denise, Karnes is up there too.
Now Denise, on these top pages, is this what you're reporting is for the June 2013 criminals?
Yes.
You had 7,189.91?
Yes.
Okay. And retained in the county was 5,751.09. And then for her civil, she had a total of 7,976 collected. And retained in the county were her district clerk's fees of 4,177.72. Her total sheriff's fees were 805.69. Her total state civil fees were 618.59, and her total court costs were 2,374.06. Thank you, Denise. Thank you. County attorney. Ms. Crabtree left it. It's one little piece of paper. It says from 131 for this month. In June, her monthly was 1,337.21. Her year-to-date was 20,504.11. And then her court costs for monthly were 25, and for year-to-date were 4,150.31. She's collected $25,326.31 today, compared to $24,654.42 last year. Bill, did you have one? And the next is going to be the Justice of the Peace. Stacy, you want to go first?
Yes, and I also have Judge Stewart's and Krizakis.
Okay.
Stewart collected $18,925.05. Total retained in the county is $12,586.75. And the number of new cases filed in her court is 130. Judge Krizeko had 154 new cases filed in her court. She collected $24,183.10. The amount retained in the county for the county is $14,836. And on mine, I had a total of 87 new cases filed in my court. We collected $24,892.50, and the total amount retained in the county was $17,093.07.
Thank you. Any questions? I have Judge Tilly here to cast a bill, please.
Daisy, how much, can you give a breakout with the license and weight and everything?
I don't have it with me, but
That's fine.
I can get you one if you want to see that.
I just out of curiosity, like to, I'll give you.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, on Judge Sotolo's, he had filed 70 new cases. And he collected $10,046.96, and $68,4063 was kept by the county. And then I also have juveniles. This is mine. Carol, you can have mine, okay? Mine. And on that, you'll notice that we only have a $35 collection on that. We have supervisor fees and dread fees. And again, the juveniles, so when their ability to pay is done, most of them do not have the funds or fees. That's all that we have for juveniles. Special projects. Thank you.
Okay, for development application, we collected 1,550. On the septic, we collected 6,550.
Thank you, Lauren. Bill, did you get one? Then we're going to move to number 25. We're going to get a report from Road and Bridge, Ronnie Mitchell.
Did y'all have an opportunity to look at that handout I gave you last meeting with the road? Did anybody find any discrepancies in their roads?
That's what the road numbers
Yeah.
are. And I did want to wait till everybody had a chance to look at that, and then we can add it to the 7:31 agenda as an attachment.
Okay. What I've prepared this morning is an incomplete report, although we're just getting our computer system functional. We're in the process, it's a learning process, and I brought some, if anyone has any questions, just to share with you, but I'm trying to extrapolate a monthly report that you can look at on a 1 or 2 page document without having to go through all the work orders that were done in the previous month, and give you an accurate, complete overview of the activity from the Road and Bridge Department. Now, this handout that I've given you is not accurate. I'm going to tell you now, it's not accurate because we're just in the process of inputting the information into the system. The system is an excellent system. I think once we get the information in it, we'll be able to generate a report for you for a variety of things, activities for the month, expenditures for the month, a complete, up-to-date, accurate inventory list. We're in the process of inputting that information right now. We ran an inventory list, and it was old. The equipment that was listed on there had been on there for years, and all the new equipment that was purchased out of this budget was not on there. So we're in the process of trying to get that up to speed, up to date, so that at any time you request any information, we'll be able to extrapolate that information and provide it. Any comments or questions on what I've given you? Okay.
Thanks, Ryan.
Okay, now, that on, County Road, again, 139, I got a phone call again this morning from Ms. Christensen. And their 2012 pickup that drives that road a lot, I guess the mirror is falling off because of the roads are so bad. And remember, I also told you about that County Road 295 the other day, out there by Helen, it was so bad. And I know you're doing
Right,
what you can.
I drove that yesterday. 139. Right now, I mean, you and I talked about that, the best thing on that would be reclaim it. There's plenty of material there, but it was, those of you that don't know, it was surfaced with TXDOT wrap material, and it was rub boarded out real bad. And we could go in and blade it and top it with more base, and 2 weeks from now, it'd be right back like it is. I'm not saying that we shouldn't fix it, I agree, it needs work. Yes, sir.
I did have a call, County Road 206, where we drove out the other day, that paved road.
Yes, sir.
791. And they said it's potholes in it. I told them I had you out there, and we looked at it. And if you would put something in plan.
And we're making progress on our non-roads. We're almost through with 326. That's coming along real well. I know you ride it every day. Okay.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, Ryan.
Luana?
Report when I handed you the bills. As previously stated by and I did match. You'll notice that we have 2 note payments coming up in July. One on the newest ambulance unit and then one on the roller for Road and Bridge. We will have 1 more payment in fiscal year 14 for the roller. That page is items of interest. Total county funds available as of June 30th, $25,530,981.68. Total county funds invested as of June 30th, $25,521,573.14. So non-invested funds as of June 30th are $9,408.54. Sales tax receipted during the month of June 2013, $826,520.69. Sales tax receipted for the same period in 2012, $597,557.16. So we had approximately a 38.31% increase. The dollar amount would be $228,963.53. Our June sales tax collections increased from May's sales tax by $64,293.48. What we estimated and included in fiscal year 13 budget for sales tax, which is our current year, is $5,385,000. And sales tax collected through June 30th is $7,554,182.07. So our collections are above budget by $2,169,182.07, approximately 40.28% above budget.
Awesome. So does that mean our effective tax rate will go down again?
Yeah. But, just try to get to what this is. Shelby?
Tim, Policies by, has Mary Ann come back with that book after we all met with her, and has she revised everything yet, or have you heard from her?
No, I'm not.
Well, I want the commissioners all to, you all have a copy of the employee handbook?
I have one.
You all have one? I think if you don't have one, when you get y'all one, because we need to sit down one day and go really go through that thing and discuss it there. We need to discuss about, some of these policies that are in place, maybe revisit a few of them, maybe change some, I'm gonna put this out there like this, when employees or when every elected official that can close their office whenever they want to, we still had a conversation, I think Carol was in on this too. But, some of the policies in there, employees are being given I guess, paid time off to go do something, whatever they want to do. We need to look at that and see if we want to continue to practice that, process. It's like being 4 hours for a funeral leave or something like that. Sometimes I know some people will abuse the process and, because they think there's a time off. We need to look at that and actually maybe put something in policy where even though the elected official can shut their office down like they want to, we need to require employees to work maybe a minimum of 40 hours or something like that. Exactly how we would do that. I know there's a way to do it. And we'll be revisiting some other issues. Some other policies, and just made me think now with drug testing, what is the actual policy? You know, we got that book, that big book y'all have, but what is the actual policy? There's a question about, okay, you can back into a stop sign, or is it just a vehicle accident, or there's some other stuff that you have to look into. So you have to really sit down and do a lot of these policies. Also, I tell them when we're coming up with I want us to be thinking about no smoking on the county grounds. I'm getting tired of seeing cigarette butts laying everywhere outside these sidewalks, laying on the ground and stuff. And nobody's really picking them up, but we need to be looking at maybe putting in a tobacco policy for the kids. Include card. All I know.
Okay. Hopefully, we final closure with Cougar Construction on this building. I do have handrail made for the courtroom to be put in front of the jury box. Don't have the wood on it yet. We're working with Alan Schultz to get that put on, wood cap put on top, similar to what's in Hall out here. And Schwartz is giving me a price on the rail for the end of the building out there. I don't know that we're gonna get it done for the first year, it's in the budget. And I'll put it in next year's budget, I'm working on that. We should be able to bid as soon as the herb gets back and we finalize it. I've been on the labor, should be able to get this parking lot out here bid. We had it bid in December and it was illegal, and it's taken this long to get it. That's the process. And I'm ready for a meeting now with
And just, I know that you were made aware of it, so you're going to be made aware of it. We are going to have to look at something. The guy from Texas Association of County down the other day. His name just went. Thank you. That's what it was. And the swing on our doors, remember Lorraine told us our swing, now that we've got Cougar paid off, we can go forward and look. Our swing on our doors is not ADA accessible. And he was going to know that too, so I think that's now something we can look at, is have somebody come in and adjust these doors. Now that we've got Cougar out of the contract, because nobody wants to do that. But we do not need the swings on the doors, that's the concern of the association.
got a report on that.
He's gonna get it to us. I know Lorraine knows that she had concerns, but. James?
Don't have it.
Tracy?
Okay, I didn't email a report in the month of May, so in the month of May, on the permits for the phone company, it was $81,787. In the month of June, it went down a little bit, it's $60,527.
still have citizens be heard, and then we look at the minutes. Do you want to do, which part do you want to stay on? Whenever citizens to be heard? Do we think, Carol, who you have?
That's you. Cheryl Moy.
Good morning.
I'm going to speak loudly, I want y'all to be able to hear me, because I'm having a difficult time hearing these minutes in the back. It'd be nice if I had a PA or something that would be able to hear what's in the back. The reason I'm here today is because back in, I believe it was maybe February or March, when Commissioner Hummer was still here, there was a trash committee that was appointed. Carol might be able to look and see who was going to be on that trash committee. I know that I was appointed from my precinct, and we were going to meet and discuss some ways to look at this dumping situation that's going on. Commissioner Humble was not reelected, and therefore, I'm not sure who, I don't remember Commissioner Yowers, and yes, everybody got somebody from the precinct, and I'm not sure who they were, because we never met. So nothing ever transpired over that, and it never happened, except there was an article in the newspaper that said trash cans, and that they were going to maybe put some videos for our lenses to watch for some illegal dumping. Sunday, when my husband and I were going out to the ranch, we noticed at the end of County Road 1144, and I believe it was 197, a sofa on the side of the road, just a nice sofa. If you'd like to see a picture of it, I can show you what we saw. And I'm sure that yes, and I'm sure that they're everywhere. But what my concern is I know that we have better things to do than going to pick up trash and all these things, but I really feel like with this oil boom and all this stuff, it's only going to get worse. And so we need to look, we need to look at some solution to this. And somebody had mentioned the prisoners picking up the trash. Well, it would pick that, but that still doesn't fix the problem. They didn't put that out there. So I feel like, number one, maybe some kind of an enforcement or some kind of camera or something.
Talk to the game warden.
That's a good idea.
Game warden short of all of that.
So, you know, when the dispatcher gets a call and somebody says, hey, I hit a couch on the side of the road, they're going to go, a cow? And they'll no, I hit a couch. Right? So, and also another issue that with this is I talked to Commissioner Dubnik about this, possibly getting together, and I talked to some people in Kennedy about that, about looking at a possible ban on the plastic bags in the county. They're blowing everywhere. I don't know what we can do about that. I know since Stripes opened, across from me, we just cut our hayfield, and we have some nice cattle out at the ranch, and we use that as a hayfield. All of our hay got baled with plastic bags in it. And one of those cows eat that bags, and we're going to lose one. So, you know, I've got not just my issue, but the issue for the whole county. What can we do to keep it clean? I would ask that you would look back into maybe forming a trash committee or forming some kind of something to help control this. You know, I drove through Charlotte the other day, little towns, pretty little towns.
Sorry, that's 3 minutes.
Sorry. Thank you.
I do think you will. Maureen Charter.
Good morning. I'm going to speak on the emergency amendments to the county budget by the presiding officer of Commissioner's Court. Since January 2011, Commissioner's Court has made approximately 63 emergency amendments to the budget. I have a copy of all of them. In that 63 emergency amendments, they were made according to Texas law, where there is a grading public necessity. I don't agree with 99% of those. I do believe that the Commissioner's Court did not do their due diligence in their job in properly identifying items that should be properly budgeted. I don't think any of you have an idea how much money is in the 63 amendments. Care to take a guess. It's over $1.5 million that we've taken out of our treasury. In addition to that, I've done a little research. And each and every one of these, gone back and researched the agenda and minutes, not in any single instance when the amendment was declared an emergency were they properly executed, not in a single instance. That, by its nature, technically means that each of these emergency minutes are void. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We go back to, I put you some new minutes out. Please replace June 4th with the second June 4th that's not stapled together. Was it June 4th? Yes, I did. It was June 4th. Number 6 is going to be review and correct commissioner's court minutes for the month of June 2013. Can you accept as presented? On the corrections commissioners?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? And motion carries 5-0. Before we adjourn, you guys know we're going to try to meet next week. If there's something that you have that is very pressing to get on that agenda, please get with me and we'll add you. Figure out how to get you in there until I talk to Bob Henderson. After I get a date from him today, I'll email you guys, I'll call you guys to share. But before y'all leave, put together some phone numbers from you. If y'all have anything, I know why you're going to have the depository stuff and your brokerage stuff, you can get that to me. Let's add it.
Okay.
Stacy, if you have a bill that's pressing or pending on EMS, please get it to us.
She's got it.
Okay. And,
Luana and I have to go to Corpus on the 16th, if there's any way we can not do it on the 16th.
okay. And what day does the 16th fall on?
Tuesday.
Tuesday. That's a week from today, right?
And I would prefer Monday or Wednesday if it's all possible.
Okay. Let's see what we can get him to do. And if we can get him to work into everybody, we will. And I think that was it. With EMS, I know that Stacy's gonna want it paid. If she sends, I told her if she sends me the bill electronically, I will scan it, send it to you, or if they drop it off, whatever they do, we'll get it to you.
Just get it straight to you, Stacy.
Go straight to you.
But I need to know so I can put on there to amend the
Well, I
budget.
need to know what y'all want me to do.
If
I'll
you'll
do it.
email it to both of us so I can put on something on there to amend the budget. Because I
Email
have,
it to both of you?
yeah, just email it.
Okay.
I'll accept it via email so I can amend the budget. I gotta put an item on there to amend, so.
Well, I'll email it to you and then I'm gonna give you these.
Okay.
Thank you.
And however I get it, I'm good by, as long as I have it to be able to put those agenda items on there. So if anybody else comes up with anything that you figure out that you need to get on that agenda before then, please call me, okay? The next item on the agenda is to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Let me get you all that phone number for,